Have you ever seen Magic Kingdom this empty? Hi everybody, it's Steve with Our Life V3, and today we're going to take a trip down memory lane to Walt Disney's The Magic Behind Our Steam Train Tour. Back in 2012, my family bought this for me as a birthday gift. Now we always enjoy the parks, but after so many trips going into the parks over the years, getting behind the scenes actually enhances every visit for us. This tour starts an hour before the park even opens to the public. We started at the Main Street Depot with a conductor discussing the train's origins. I always just thought the trains were created for the parks, but it turns out they're actually from the early 1900s. Walt's team found them down in Mexico back in the 60s, waiting to be scrapped. There were 5 trains and only 4 of them could be salvaged, but Walt bought a lot of them and transported them back to Florida and began restoring them. Each train was named after somebody special in Walt's life for the operation.
Connected by tunnels, so that maintenance people do not have to come up the steps to come out. They keep their tools down there. Any parts.
We were not actually allowed to go into the roundhouse for safety reasons. Apparently falling through the floor is not a good thing. But we got to spend a good deal of time looking in as they serviced and readied each locomotive for the day. No, I'm not Sheldon Cooper, and trains aren't a must-do for me, but I still found the tour enlightening and exciting. At least as exciting as other train tours we had taken.
The very earliest cow catchers were actually flat and had big spikes sticking out the front. So if you caught a cow, you took them to town. The problem was when you got to town, the farmer was waiting for you and he wanted paid for that cow. The other problem was that wasn't any old scrawny cow like it looked like. That was a pride breeding mule or something, you know. So he wanted a lot of money for that cow. So they changed to this style. Now if they hit a cow when they got to town, there was no evidence on the front. The farmer would be waiting there and said, hey, you hit my cow, I want to be paid for it. So there we go. Are you crazy? We saw him laying there when we went by. Well, remember I said there's no brakes on the train as long as it's moving, you know, and there's none on the engine. Well, I'd lied. We do have a safety brake right there. When that train is outside, that has to be put in.
The amount of prep and work that goes into running each locomotive is insane. Some newer equipment would make the whole operation less costly and a lot easier for the park, but it really all is about the experience and the imagery at Walt Disney, isn't it?
You gotta remember, this is a show we put on 7 days a week, rain or shine.
Yeah. Becoming a conductor on the rail is no easy feat either. Turns out there's about a few dozen things that can instantly get you fired. Like, oh, I don't know, having a steamer pop-off valve let loose near any station. It's like a giant pressure cooker making circles around the park, and when they relieve the pressure, it is so incredibly loud.
It won't last a long time. Are you ready?
They're ready.
Here we go.
Lady Liberty.
Frozen in, you gotta get it in front of the nozzle or it will not ignite. Obviously, if you did it, you wouldn't be closing the door. She'd be lighting another flame. Wave now because you're going to go in with 40,000 other people and they'll never recognize you. Now we're going to do the blowdown. We're going to heat up our gator pond out here. They will blow down the steam. You'll see the steam coming out on this side, warming up the gator pond, and blow down past the sensor. This is simulated, but you have an idea of how it works. They're not really going to blow up. That was a little quick.
It was a good 3 hours of knowledge and sharing, but I would say toward the end the stories really started seeming like they repeated. Of course, as somebody who's been to marshalling, where Walt's love for trains first grew, the stories didn't have as much of a surprise factor as I had hoped for. It did, however, give me a new level of respect for the men and women who run the trains and what they have to go through just to ensure it's as seamless of a ride for us patrons. Now, if trains aren't a passion of yours, well, this tour will be further down my recommendation list for you. There are other incredible tours in the park that take you into ride history, construction, and even down into the utilidors under the park. But if you're looking for that unique perspective and love transportation, then I'd recommend this tour for you. A few thoughts though, if you decide to go, much like the trains, this tour is going to leave promptly on time, so if you can't be in the park by 7:30 in the morning, you're going to lose your spot. Make sure you're able to get to the park too from your hotel, because there's a lot of buses that don't run that early in the morning. You can ask your concierge for help, or if you're coming from off-site, know that you can drive in and park at the Contemporary Resort and walk into the park. You just have to show your pass and that you're on the tour, and they'll understand. The tour is outdoor for the entire time of the day except for the train ride itself. So dress appropriately, wear good walking shoes, and be prepared to stand for at least an hour at a time. Above all else, just have fun taking in the sights and history. We did have a complainer in our group, and the conductor did a good job of sidetracking, get it, sidetracking, them from destroying the tour for the rest of us. Well, I sure hope this tour background was enjoyable or useful for you. Until next time, keep it between the lines, and safe travels, everybody. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you give a toot. Get it? Toot. Boop, boop. Take care.
He had a barn that he copied from when he was a childhood, and he used it for his train. Our barn would look similar to his.